All right, we're live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Coffee and Bullshit, episode
54.
1000. Oh, 54. I thought we were like 1000 something. Just curious. Do you know who that is?
Man, you look like your dad there. Holy crap.
That's what the aging on Snap.
Is it?
Yeah, does that look enough like him? What's happening, everybody? Awesome to have you again here on a Saturday.
As you see, our special guest is Brian. He's back.
I'm back. Sometimes I'm not on the road
tour.
every weekend. This is like 2 weekends in a row. It's unbelievable. And that will all end.
Oh,
As always, forget the microphone.
Right, get the microphone.
That'll end starting next weekend, and then it's on for all the way till Christmas every weekend.
And what do we have next weekend?
The late night flea market in Wheaton, 3 to midnight. Come on and see us. It's an awesome time. If you guys are anywhere near Wheaton, come out and see us there on Saturday, next Saturday. It's a good time. There's always some D-list celebs from the scary movie world.
Are they having any this year?
I have not seen a report yet that they are. There's used to be Sven Gulli came, Elvira came, a few others. So it's always a good time. It's always everybody dresses up. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. It's a great day.
Great people watching. Great deals you can find.
We give away 1 million samples.
Yeah, we give out a lot of samples.
We'll have all our good stuff. So we'll have our apple cider, which is running almost out. That was quick. Sergeant Major, you guys asked for this one all year long again. There's a bunch now. It will be gone within 2 weeks, I'm sure, especially after the flea market. So if you want it, go online and get it. 3 months in an oak barrel, captures all the essence of the brandy. You got a little bit of sugar. It's like putting a shot of the best brandy you ever had in your life in there. And then private pumpkin. We got some of that left.
I like to call it the white girl trap.
With every 1,000 bags, you get a free pair of Uggs. It's like every girl wants.
You know how much Uggs are?
For 1,000 bags, we'll buy them a pair of Uggs. Yeah, I know. I know because I bought a pair last year for my daughter.
You know what? We should give him a card. Like you get 1,000 punches.
Yes.
I mean, like a raffle ticket punch.
I like it.
Sounds good to me. So let's see what's in the news.
Jimmy Carter's doing a great job as president.
Yes, he is. He's doing a great job. Oh, I think that's Let's Go Brandon guy.
I was just thinking last night. This is exactly like when Carter was president. It's all the same. Here we go. Have a one-term Democratic president who's going to come in, fuck shit up, drive inflation, fucking kill everything. This was the same issue. We couldn't get stuff in back in the late 70s, early 80s. We couldn't get stuff, right? The supply chain went down. Gas was out of this world. You couldn't get it. And then
didn't they call it a stagflation or something? What was it?
Stagflation.
Stagflation, yeah. But you know what? When it did that, you remember your interest rates.
Oh yeah,
you got huge interest.
Yeah, but
rates.
my parents. I remember when we moved here, my parents were so excited because they bought their new house and they got 17% interest and thought they did an awesome deal. 17% on your mortgage.
But in your savings, you used to get like 10, 12% on that.
I remember.
But
I remember when I was a kid,
I'd rather have low.
We walked in the bank and the 10-year CD was 10% interest a year. So I'm like, I took my 8th grade graduation money that I got from a party, stuck it in that 10-year CD. I'm like, at 10% a year, I'm gonna have more than 100% of that. So it's gonna more than double with compounding in 10 years. It was worth burying money in that.
I wonder what it is now.
0.025 is what I looked at a 10-year CD. 0.025.
This thing is going crazy.
So there's no point even sticking money in the bank anymore.
No.
That's why I stick it all in stocks. I stick it all in index funds.
So we can't really give out financial advice. I know
this is in no way financial advice. It's important to let you know that you could lose all your money and more when you invest in the stock market. Past performance is no indication of future results. We're not advisors and make no suggestions.
Yeah, and on that point, so Shibu is been doing really good.
I was thinking the other day, to be honest, like all my friends have bought Shibu, convinced everybody to buy it. Like everybody owns millions of them, right? Because it's so cheap now. I was like, you know how awesome it would be if that just hit $1 and it just made a whole just massive generation of millionaires, multi-millionaires just from that. Just like $1, there's a whole bunch of people that are going to be millionaires instantly.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it.
This guy. And, especially once it hits Robinhood, that's really going to blow it up.
I hope it explodes.
Even
if it got to $0.25, we'd all be wealthy.
If I can hit 10 cents, I'd be well off.
Yeah, right. Imagine. I mean,
Right.
remember when Doge was a joke and it was like 0.000?
Should have bought more of that.
Oh,
I mean, I
God.
still have hope for Doge because things take time to climb.
Yes,
You know?
there's enough people behind Doge and
Yeah.
going into it in Doge, so I think it'll be okay.
Especially the more they find more uses for it, like Shibu and Doge and what's Bitcoin just got the ATM or something, some sort of thing.
Yes, and then
screw China if they don't want to have it there.
You know what?
Because they can't control it.
The funny thing is, as we run out of money, like we're running out of money again, crypto is going to become more valuable, and they're going to need a currency that they can trade that you can. So the problem with the U.S. dollar is countries are going to stop trusting it because we're out of money. They know, and so we're going to be printing money that doesn't have anything backing it. And so, but with crypto, the whole world can see how much is there, what the value is, and everybody knows in the whole world.
All right.
Not just the U.S. just says it's worth this much. So crypto's, as much as it's had some issues and been some thefts, it's a little more honest than any other currency. And eventually, the whole planet's going to be on one currency. Because it's really a stupid idea that we all have different currencies. It creates more problems than it does. It creates a market, it creates an exchange, but it's not useful. I think what's going to happen in the future is every futuristic movie, they always trade credits. Oh, it's 1,000 credits for that. It's 10,000 credits for that. That's what we're going to call future money. It's not going to be dollars, pounds, euros. It's going to be credits.
Yang, Wayne, bonds.
Bitcoin might become it. If someone creates a crypto called credits, I'll buy a shit ton of it, because if you want to know what the future is going to hold,
Watch futuristic movies.
Watch any movie about future. It always comes true. When we were kids, every rocket in every movie landed like Elon Musk's rocket lands. Right? When you played with a rocket when you were a kid, you landed it just like Elon Musk's rocket lands. It's crazy that it lands exactly like that.
And remember, kids, nobody plays Navy. They always play Army. But yeah, on that, I mean, that's every Star Trek. I mean, look at Star Trek. They had the phones. Beep beep. Now we had the phones.
Right. Back then, the communicator was amazing. It was basically a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Now our phone's way more than when Star Trek ever imagined.
Yeah.
And then in the future movies, all cars are electric. What do you know? We're moving to all electric cars. It's incredible how it predicts it.
But there's got to be a better way of producing electricity than our current situation, because windmills.
So, did you see the article the other day? So what they figured out works better than the actual windmills. That's hilarious. I can't even believe it's real. It seems like a prank. So it works even better than the windmills. Are huge vibrators. It looks like a goddamn vibrator, but instead of the windmill, same post, but it vibrates. The vibration is actually more efficient than the actual big windmills. So you have to move the big blades. It takes up less space and it's more efficient. It looks like a huge vibrator they stick in the ground. So if the aliens are like a giant race, like, whoa, it's a good planet to go to. But it looks like it's a huge vibrator sticking on the ground.
But how would it?
From the oscillations, generates more electricity than the windmill does. It's more efficient.
So it's like that one guy who produced an engine that the big three bought.
Mm-hmm.
It was getting 300 miles to the gallon or something crazy.
On anything flammable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big three bought that technology and sold it away.
But so it's hilarious. So why is this so effective is because a windmill, whatever energy it takes to turn that windmill produces less electricity than the energy to spin that thing.
Okay.
Right. So this, it takes less energy to vibrate it. So it creates more electricity than the energy to make it vibrate. That's why it's so good now. It takes up a hell of a lot less space, hell of a lot less cost. Those blades, when they move those blades, they're one piece.
Right.
So they move them on the split truck, right? It's a pain in the ass to move. They're huge. They get damaged easy. Remember, so you can put them right next to your house. You don't have to have an acre of property with nothing around it. You can put it next to your house, and it'll sit there and work.
Wouldn't you be afraid to people be coming to your house just to?
It looks like you have a huge vibrator in your yard, but
yeah.
Eventually, if it's that, so they're still big now, but as stuff gets more efficient,
you just put one on top of your house.
Well, wait. So the big challenge right now is why solar is so inefficient, electricity is so inefficient, is because the only thing we can manufacture on Earth here are semiconductors.
Right.
So high resistance, in space in a zero gravity environment, materials mix differently. They don't mix here, so you can make superconductors. Well, you can't do mass production on the space shuttle or on the space station.
No.
So as we move to the moon, start building the moon base, the Mars base, we'll be able to start manufacturing superconductors. And then you're going to see battery technology jump 100 years ahead. You're going to see solar technology jump 100 years ahead. Electricity jump 100 years ahead.
When we use something besides electricity, then who knows?
It'll be solar. Everything will go solar because it'll be way more efficient.
Yeah, but you can't really use solar in space.
Why?
To move ships?
Sure you can.
No. You'd have to come up with an engine like...
Well, we have satellites that survive on solar now and use solar to power the rockets that move the satellite around. Some satellites move. They don't just stay in a geosynchronized orbit. The space station uses solar to power it.
Yeah, to power it, but to move.
Yeah,
you want to get here to Mars quicker.
You build an electric motor. So there's a whole new kind of motor that wasn't supposed to work, right? But they've already proven it to work. So the guy came up with it 80 years ago. It's basically what they use in every space movie is a proton engine.
Right.
And so what it is you bounce a proton back and forth as fast as you can go inside this chamber, and that creates the thrust and propulsion. Well, supposedly, it was all bullshit and there's no way it could work. Well, they already proved a year ago that, yeah, they can make that and they can actually make it work. And it's real. So basically, because the proton never loses charge, you're just vibrating it back and forth. You don't have to renew it. It's not like nuclear, like after a while, that reactor goes dead. So it'll never run out. So you never run out of fuel. And you'll be able to power it all through space. And it creates way more power than the output is way beyond what you put into it. So it becomes super efficient. You can use solar to power that. And then we can go at speeds unheard of all across the universe. There's no limit to it. You just keep it going and it just keeps generating more power and there's no limit.
So one day we could hit warp speed.
Yeah.
Whatever that speed is.
Yeah. Light speed, basically.
Is that what warp speed is?
It's supposed to be faster than light speed. Because what warp speed is supposed to be is your foregoing time. You're moving faster than time.
Right.
And time moves at the speed of light, basically, is what it is. That's the fastest they can measure it, blah, blah, blah. Because of gravitational pull and warp speed is supposed to be beyond that. But you really can't get beyond that. At least not now.
No, not now.
However, the last 2 years, they've teleported proton across the room. They teleported a proton across the room. And then the other freaky thing about that, it's all linked to protons, is every proton in the world has a twin, which did not know this. So whatever you do to this proton here, its twin, anywhere it's at in the world, in the universe, it will react. So they vibrated a proton here, and what they found was there was a proton in Australia vibrating. The same resonance.
Find it in.
So they've learned that, right, these protons have twins. So what they realize is you can get output with basically zero input because you move this proton and it makes a proton you're not even touching move.
I wonder if you can get that same proton in the same spot.
You're doubling your output of everything, right? The thing is, my brain's too small to wrap around that there's a twin, and somehow without any connection, somehow this one knows to react. How it does that, I have no idea, but they're thinking that's part of the key to teleportation. Whatever this link is between these two things is part of what's going to help open up warping. Right? Warping is kind of folding time, so it's moving from here to there. So that's kind of what warp is they can figure out what the link is here and how they connect.
Right.
You travel on those same wavelengths, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, my brain's not big enough to wrap around all that. It's way beyond me. It hurts my mind to think about how big that stuff is,
but once, I mean, if you have that,
it is a great fall day in June, man. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it
outside.
is. It is beautiful out there.
I love these days when it's cold in the morning, and then about 2-3 o'clock, the sun's out, and you feel the warmth of the sun. It's like
Have you turned on your heater?
Yeah, we did. We did 2 nights ago.
Did you? We still haven't.
You know what? It was miserable because, our furnace is upstairs. So downstairs is freezing in our house because I hadn't switched the dampers on our furnace yet. Because you have to totally block the upstairs off for it to get any bit warm downstairs. So I went up to bed. I walked in, it was like a sweatshop in our room. I'm dying. I'm like, I want to turn the air back on, but it's really bad to go from heat to air when there's like that 40-degree change. It's really bad for your air conditioner, blah, blah, blah. So just open all the windows and be miserable for the first 2 hours of trying to sleep.
A nice blanket and you're. Fall asleep pretty well.
These are nights when you open the window and then you have the
breeze.
blankets. Yes, oh, man, it's nothing better. And our new mattress, like I tell you, man, we bought this new mattress called an S7, and it's vented. The whole mattress is vented. It's about cool sleeping. So no matter what the temperatures in our house, when you lay on this mattress, it's vented. You can feel the cold air coming through, and it feels so good to lay on a cold bed. It's like, having cold sheets. Like, it's always that way. It's amazing. It's the best thing we've ever bought. It was expensive. Like, for us, it was expensive. It was $1,500. It was the best mattress ever. I lay on there at night when it's hot in rooms, like, you can just feel the cool coming through the mattress.
Enza and Joel, or Joel and Enza.
No heat for them. Too cheap.
It's still nice. I mean,
I hate to turn the heat on now. I hate the heat.
She wants to know what brand is it.
I cannot remember. Just look up S7. Look up S7, Pamela. And we found it at actually Harlem, the room place. We went there to go look at a bed set. Like, let's look at mattress. As soon as we both lay down in this mattress, I'm like, that's it. We're getting this one. So I lay down in 30 seconds. I'm like, this is the best ever. If you just type in S7 mattress on Google, the brand comes up. It's something with a B. I can't remember, but it was like, for us, it was like $12 or $1,500, which I think is expensive for a mattress, but it was well worth the money. And Harlem was offering no interest financing for they'll do up to 5 years on anything, on like for 5,000. No, but they gave us 2 years interest free for the 1,200.
Oh, so you bought it from there?
We bought it from their website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was cheaper, whatever. Go to Harlem Furniture, Harlem the Room Place, whatever the hell it's called now, and go lay on it. There's an S5, which is like cheaper, so it's not as thick. But this one has like a 4-inch foam pad on top. The S5 only has like a 2-inch in there, built in there, but no springs. Don't need a box spring. Man, it's soft. It was so nice to lay on a soft. Our other spring is our other mattress was, I think it was like a semi-firm. Didn't realize how hard it was until we lay on this thing. I'm like, oh, I've had the best night's sleep since. Once I fall asleep, I stay asleep the whole night. It was well worth the money.
Unless you got to get up and pee.
I'm cheap. Like, my wife would want a new mattress for like the last 5 years. I'm like, we just bought that one. She's like, yeah, 10 years ago. I'm like, well, it's like another 10 years in it. What do you want? I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. Until we bought a new mattress. When we laid on a new mattress, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. You don't have to hear the springs in the bed at all.
My parents had theirs for 30 years. 30.
That's so bad. It's so bad. Like, you don't realize how bad it is until you get on a new mattress.
Yeah.
Then you're like, oh, because you don't realize the springs die.
I think about every 10 years, you probably need to change it out or something.
And if you're not flipping and rotating your mattress, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Because you're supposed to flip it, and then the next flip is you rotate it, and then flip it over, and then rotate it.
But they're now you don't need to flip, right? That's the old.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think it's the old ones, like
right. The old spring ones, because you got to wear the springs. Plus, you got one of us is fat, one of us is not fat at all. So my fat ass is wearing the springs out while my wife's on their side at her 100 pounds and not doing any damage to the springs. So I got to flip it around so that she gets the springs I wore out, and I can sleep on her fresh springs. Ernesto, awesome coffee. Please patronize. Thank you, Ernesto. Every 8 years extra save for a new mattress.
Well, I'm a little bit cheaper than you guys are, so 10 years.
I was looking for all the discount mattress place, and we're considering matches. Like, I know there's a discount store down in St. Charles.
Did you check the one here?
No. Oh, because we went late on this mattress, I'm like, I have to have this.
They might have had the same one.
They probably did. Doesn't matter.
I'm just saying.
We were going to buy all our whole bedroom from Harlem because it was like 5 years interest free. I'm like, who gives 0% interest on a loan? That's awesome. Yeah. Like, I'll take it because we were going to spend like $7,000.
Well, I think they want to catch people that don't pay it all off.
Right, but 5 years.
I know.
So then I was like, I've never had a 0% interest loan for 5 years. I'd take out $2 million if they let me. I'd go buy a whole bunch of Shibu. I'd buy Shibu, Doge, and Bitcoin and some Litecoin, but and probably some more Ford options. But so we ended up looking at we couldn't find the rest of the bedroom set with like the dresser and the nightstands that we didn't like. They had there. We liked the bed, but we went online. I found a bed that we really loved for a better deal. It was like $800 when everything at home was $1,500 to $2,000. Nicer than what that is. And then we found the whole furniture set on Amazon. I think it was Amazon we found it. It was a really good deal. It was cheap and it was way better quality than we were finding at the stores. So it wasn't pressboard bullshit, it's actual wood.
Yeah, but now if you try to find that stuff, you gotta wait.
Shit, we had my old oak bedroom set. Tried to sell it on Facebook. Nobody wanted it. I'm like, it's actual oak. It's like a whole huge bedroom set of oak, real oak.
You know how heavy that is?
It's fucking heavy.
It's heavy.
Yes, I know, because I moved it down the stairs by myself. I moved it in up the stairs by myself when we first got there.
No, when you first got there, I helped.
No.
Yeah.
You were gone. You were gone in either Virginia, Korea, or somewhere else.
No.
Yes, when you were in the Army. I think you were in North Carolina at the time.
No, I was. Oh, wait a second. The apartment?
No, the house.
No, the house. I was out of the military.
Well, you weren't there.
Well, I helped moved.
It was 16 years ago.
Yeah, I helped you moved.
16 years ago.
I remember.
You were 34.
Yeah, I was younger then.
No,
yeah.
you were definitely out of the military. You weren't out of the military then, were you?
Yeah.
What year did you get out?
04? 5? You guys, it was 16 years ago. 16 years ago is.
I don't think you were there because I remember I had her brother. I had my brother-in-law, her mom and dad.
And I had
I don't think you were back yet. I think you were still in North Carolina.
No, I had it. I was there to help you.
Were you?
Yeah. I don't know. Did I have an SUV back then or not?
No, I rented a big truck.
That's what it was, and I followed you.
That's right. Yeah. I made 7,000 trips. Man, you're in an apartment. I swear to God, how a one-bedroom apartment is like, oh, I got this 18-foot box truck.
And just said I was back.
So he was back. So you remember better than me, man. I'm getting old. So I thought, looking at the apartment, like, we have nothing. What, this is going to be like one trip. We won't even fill up the truck. 3 trips later, I'm like, I could not believe I'm still going back and forth. Moving the aquarium was the biggest bitch. Moving a 46-gallon aquarium that's full of fish, really sucks.
Whatever happened to those fish?
So we moved. They survived for like 2 years, and they started dying off. Then I got a largemouth bass, and then I got a muskie. And the bass ended up killing the muskie. And I had the bass for like 3 more years.
And then did you fry it up and eat it?
No, then we just got rid of the tank.
Yeah, tanks take up a lot of.
It's just a lot. It's amazing how much you can accumulate. Yeah, Jordan. Yeah. Jordan knows because you just moved.
He moved twice in less than a year.
Yeah, Jordan does all our website stuff for us. Just had to move.
But you know what? When you get into a bigger house,
you just accumulate more shit.
You're like, hey, we got to fill this room up with
something. You should have a rule to yourself that you move every 10 years. Because my parents living in their house for 40 years, when they died and I had to go clean that out, the amount of shit you amass over 40 years, because you never go through it, you never throw away stuff. So you just add more shit on top, add more shit on top. I mean, I was throwing away invoices from 1983 that were stacked in a file. Like, you know, when they first die, you start going through every paper because you don't know what's important. After about an hour and a half in, you're like, I don't care if this is the treasure map to the Covenant of the Lost Ark. I'm just gonna throw it all. I just started throwing it all away, all in a dumpster. I'm like, had they moved like 3 or 4 times, there wouldn't be so much shit. So you have to move. It forces you to throw stuff away. Like my wife has been forcing me to go through the closet. Like every night she's like, all right, you gotta get rid of 5 things. 5 things of donation tonight. It's amazing. I started going through all my clothes.
Every night?
Yeah. Every night.
So you pretty much have no clothes what you're wearing right now.
Basically, I have only, now what I'm down to is only what I actually wear. Whereas before I had jeans from 10 years ago sitting up there. They're like, right?
I still have a hoodie from high school.
I still have t-shirts. I bought a County C. These County C t-shirts, at the time I bought them, this is back in 91, 90. They were $22 a piece. I had a heart attack about spending that much for a t-shirt. However, I'm 35 right now. And so I've had them now since I was 17. And they still look like brand new t-shirts.
Hey, Paul. Hope things are going good at the mall and at the shows.
No, hey.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't know Paul, they have an awesome candy, jerky, hot sauce, everything you can think of that's all confectionery stuff at their store at Fox Valley Mall, right?
Is it still the Fox Valley Mall?
I don't know. But they're near the food court. They're kind of like, you got to go down there, go down the bottom. They're around the corner. Is it from Baskin Robbins? Paul, tell us. But you guys got to go there and visit. Their store is really cool.
Yeah.
It reminds you of the old-time candy shop when you were kids, right? They had stores, all just candy. They have unique sodas and stuff.
Sort of like what Rockets is in St. Charles. It's like their stuff. And they got the really hot stuff there.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, like, if you're looking for something hot, go there. He has it. I mean, crazy hot. I mean, if you like hot stuff.
But it's like It's like when you were a kid and you walked into a really cool candy store. Like, remember as a kid going to the candy store? Like, that's what it's like to me. Is you walk in there, like, the walls are all colorful. They have all the cool shit in there.
I mean, that old time when you were really young and you'd pick up a barrel and you'd take the candy out and you put it in the counter,
Yes.
and guy'd bring you up, push the button there.
Yes.
Like,
there's a soda jerk.
Yeah, soda jerk there
Yes.
too, yeah.
Yes. Ice cream was a nickel back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember you owned the store that I used to go to all the time. You're the neighborhood old guy. Hey, don't forget, Sal's going to be 50 in January, so keep watching. Make sure you say happy birthday. He's really freaking out about being 50.
I'm not freaking out about anything.
He's worried about his AARP card coming.
No, he's
already
applied 3 times.
He's already been asking for senior citizen discounts everywhere.
Hey, get that 4 o'clock dinner in there. Why not?
Oh, there's some Radco Lube gun oil. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
They're right down the street.
Yeah, those guys make awesome gun oil.
Gun oil, yeah.
Thanks for joining us today.
Still use it. The bottle they gave me, I still use. When I got a little downtime here, I will clean not my service weapon, but
we'll clean these.
No, not those.
These need to be cleaned too, just because they don't actually shoot projectiles.
What are you gonna do with it?
Probably just got the whole video taken down from Facebook now.
No, you didn't, because it is a prop gun.
Well, I can't do that. Those are murders people. A prop gun just murdered 2 people, or 1.5.
Well, you know, here's the other gun of the prop.
Listen, what if it comes out that the same guy who's
everybody who knows what this is, right?
M1 Garand.
No, M1 carbine.
Carbine. Because it's got the short barrel.
It's nothing. It's got a little orange tab. But I thought it was cool prop. We're actually we're involved in a Christmas decorating thing from Batavia or something. So I think we're gonna use these prop guns as our design for Christmas.
So when you see the SWAT team surrounding the building,
the SWAT team already done that once.
Did it once because of our doorstop.
That was our doorstop.
It was a bomb squad.
It was the bomb squad. But yeah, I mean, everything on it's real. I mean, I guess you could really take the wood off of it and actually put an M1 carbine guts in it.
There you go.
It's got Sony guts. But that was from the World War II days, and
don't see the guy, the prop guy for Baldwin's movie.
It was the same person from The Crow.
Yeah,
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy, isn't it? Just
you guys don't remember Brandon Lee?
What if that was the case? What if it was the case that it was the same guy? Would that not be
I don't
crazy?
know. That'd be pretty freaky.
What if it comes out that someone was having an affair with that woman and didn't want it to get out, so they figured out a way to kill her?
Yeah. My son got into trouble years ago for taking off, the orange cap. I mean, I still remember back in the day when we used to run around, well, in our neighborhood, we used to run around as kids with the fake M16s. I made
my finger would be sore from just pulling that trigger all day long.
You know, playing Army, because nobody plays Navy or Air Force.
Oh, his son got in trouble when he removed the orange cap.
Yeah, but we didn't have orange caps.
We didn't have orange caps. It looked just like the real gun.
Yeah, and then
but you know what? Then people didn't call the police because they saw some kids outside playing with the gun. Now people call the police for if you have a video camera anywhere, if you sneeze in the wrong direction, call the police. Just constantly, it's ridiculous. But in my kid's school, if you was like bang, you're automatically suspended.
Just by going bang.
Yeah, you can't play cops and robbers. You can't play cowboys and Indians. You can't
play Romans and Jews with your swords.
You can't do this. You can't play. We see each other all day in class.
Oh, I can never do that.
We see that all day in class. My own thing is I saw somebody be like, "Hey,
yeah,
I do that. You're in trouble. You're suspended. You're suspended. You're suspended forever because you pretend to cancel culture. I hate cancel culture.
Yeah,
dude, I gotta tell you, Chappelle's show was funny. Chappelle's
show was funny. I mean, it's a comedy.
The funny thing is, if you listen to the whole thing, he comes all the way back around to the beginning and explains the whole situation where he's not phobic about any of them. It's explaining why he understands, where he explains why he was doing the comedy he was doing.
Right.
And so, but nobody listens to him. They just want to take the sound bites and have a reason. They just look for a reason to be upset. Right. I want to look for a reason to be upset and pissed off. That's what I want to do. I spent my whole life doing that.
What I guess New York's taking down Andrew Jackson's statue or something.
Why?
Because Andrew Jackson was a mean president or had slaves or something. I mean, they even want to take him out of the Capitol building. I mean, he was a president. He was a sitting president. Are you going to take down Washington? You're going to take down pretty much every president from.
Well, you got to take down Lincoln because he's homosexual, and he had sex with young boys.
Well, I think
There's plenty of stories about it. So, like I say, you could. So, Charlie Kirk actually said something good. This girl was given a question. He was doing a college speech. You could tell she was given a question. It wasn't her question, but she said, "How do you claim the Constitution to be this almighty document when it was written by racists and all this?" And he said, "Well, show me where it's in this document it says anything racist." He said, "Don't tell me the sins of the author. Tell me where it is in this document." So I'm not interested in sins of the author. I'm interested in what they were able to create. So the funny thing I think is if you look at that, which nobody takes a look at the perspective, is they may have had slaves. They may have not been angels of people. However, I think they knew that about themselves enough. They were able to write a document that survived 200 years, is still super relevant today. I think they realized that slavery would end. I think that they realized all this stuff would end. And so they wrote this document to protect all those things in the future. Said, listen, yeah, all men are created equal because we realize someday this shit's going to end and you're going to have a society without this. So here it is. Here's the protection. We're going to write in there. It's even against our own, what we're doing ourselves right now. But they had the foresight and the intelligence to write a document that was against themselves. I don't think it was, they didn't consider African Americans people. I don't think that was the truth. I think it was they realized, yep, you have to do something that sets up a nation for a long time. They didn't write that document for a couple of years or for that year. They wrote it to establish a country. And people who are smart enough to establish a country realize this document has to have a timeline it's long, that eventually slaves won't be slaves. They'll be part of our regular society. They'll be considered equals just like everybody else. And they realized that, and they wrote the document according to that.
And it's, I mean, the Constitution is still not relevant. Relevant
well,
to today.
Well, I think it's
and to the future.
Think about it. If you're going to sit down a document right now and you say, okay, what do we do to guarantee our rights for the future? The Bill of Rights is the Bill of Rights because those are the first 10 things that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why they're the most. That's why freedom of speech is number one, and freedom of press, freedom of religion is number one, because it's the most thing. You're like, well, this is where we've already realized under dictatorship, these are the first things that are going to be oppressed. Is your speech? They'll stop on your religion. They'll stop the press so that you can't revolt against. They realize that. They're like, so we got to make sure that these three things. And you have to be able to fight back, no matter what. If you're getting oppressed, you have to be able to fight back. So we got to put something in there that says, hey, as a citizen, I get to keep weapons in case your army of the dictatorship ever wants to try to stomp on us. Right. That's the whole point of the Second Amendment. It's nothing else. It's not for hunting. It's not for any other bullshit. It's for that, which everybody says can never happen now. That's why they're willing to give up their right. But our government oppresses us more every day and takes away rights. Now, if you go and yell at the school board, you're a domestic terrorist, which means you lose every right. You can't take public transportation. You can't fly in a plane. You can't hold a job. You can't do anything if you'd be declared a domestic terrorist. So it's ridiculous. So that's already happened. And then so they went along, and those rights there, they wrote them in the order they were thinking of what's most important to us. And they started writing them down. And those 10 are their first 10, not because randomly, because they thought of the most important things, and those became the 10. And they had ones after that, things became more important. But it's funny when people always say that they have issues with the Second Amendment. It's to stop oppression. That's it.
Well, that's why the first line, we the people.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's
right. They didn't say we the white people, we the free people, we the people who are above everybody else. They said we the people. They said because they knew this would be society. Think about how smart you have to be to establish a document that's still 200 years from now. Who could write that? Who could write something so powerful unless you're a highly intelligent person?
I don't think they could do it in today's society.
I challenge anybody right now to go write something down that 200 years from now will be relevant, that a whole society of people will want to follow, and that a whole bunch of other societies in this country will aspire to.
They can write their own when they build that desert paradise in Nevada, where the heck they're going to do with the free, no, whatever, cancel culture, living down there with no police and fire. I mean, who's going to put out their fucking fires? Who's going to keep? You going to have citizen police? It's going to be a big mess up, whatever it comes about.
Right. The thing that people don't realize is you have to protect the worst offense of that right, possibly, so then to make sure everybody else is free. Because otherwise, when you have personal police and civilian police, it becomes subjective as to what's illegal. I watch videos all the time. People are like, call the police. I'm offended. Because people are offended, they call the police. They want police. I watched guys do an interview on a college campus, just asking people questions. The little guy's like called the police to me. He's like, they're like, are you calling the police? Yeah. The police came. They're like, why did you call us? He was offending me. They're like, well, that's not a crime. I said, arrest him. I want him arrested. He was saying things that were offensive to me.
Just hand him a bobby pin. Here you go.
Right. Like, so that's what happens when you leave stuff subjective. Is this person, that's against the law for you to say anything that I disagree with. So I want you arrested. That's what happens when you don't protect the very worst case. In this case, when you make it subjective, it has to be completely objective. That you have a law in place that says this is what it is. And yeah, people are allowed to say stuff you don't like. You have to protect the KKK. You have to protect the people who say hateful things, because that makes sure that whatever you say is okay. If you protect the absolute worst, you're going to be okay, and the subjectivity will never cross into your area. If people don't get that, and I don't like the KKK. I hate to see those guys sitting there supporting. It's the most ignorant bunch of people I've ever seen in my life. But if you don't protect what they're saying, that means the rest of us, freedom of speech is in danger.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think Kane County and McHenry County were asked.
Yeah, most of the suburbans said no.
Yeah,
I would say no too.
I mean, it's their own fault. There shouldn't be a mandate on taking. That's another thing that's the mandates for hospital workers, city workers. That's all bullshit. Okay, they've been doing this whole time without it. They've been fine. They said, well, more police officers died from COVID. Most police officers aren't in great health. If you look at most of them, I'm sorry, but most of them.
Listen, I don't agree with the mandating.
Even most of your citizens.
I think it's fine. They don't want to take the vaccine. Then you can put a rule in place that you have to wear a mask at all times, or you have to get tested on a weekly basis to prove that you're not getting anybody else sick. I think that's okay.
Yeah, but once COVID, like, look at this. They're talking about Florida had high cases. Now it's like barely anything. Okay, it runs its course, just like the flu. Once it runs its course, everybody catches it. I've caught it. He's probably caught it. Yeah, didn't you catch it or no?
No. I'm immune.
Yeah, too much coffee drinking.
I'm immune. I have immune. Some people are.
Some people do. Some people
are immune. Yeah. The only thing I can explain is I haven't caught it yet. Somehow.
What's your blood type?
I don't remember. It's been a while since I gave blood. I forgot.
Oh.
But I've been around so many people that had it and got diagnosed with it. Spent time with you.
Yeah.
The car center next to you didn't get it. My people at my work got it, and I was fine. I've been sitting next repeatedly and haven't got it. No one in my family's gotten it, and they've been exposed. My daughter goes to school every day, and she's been exposed. In her high school, in the first week of school, there was 48 or 50 kids who are quarantined because they had it. And they're like, they sent a letter like, your kid was not infected. I'm like, they're in the lunch together. They're in the hallways together. If disease and vermin run rampant anywhere, it's in a school.
I like the one thing that was you're sitting down in a restaurant, right? When you get into a restaurant, you got to wear a mask. But once you sit down, your mask is off. So, right. COVID only goes right over your head.
Oh, and you used to travel 6 feet. Now it only travels 3 feet. Right. So, that was just all bullshit. They're like, they have no idea. So let's just say 6 feet. Let's just pick a random number. That sounds good. 6 feet seems reasonable.
But now people think it's, when you see people in their car by themselves wearing a mask, you're like, come on.
People. I like that. I think that's funny as hell.
I'm yelling at my window.
I don't ever yell at anybody. I don't care. Do what they want to do. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Yeah. I don't care. If you wear a mask, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. What I don't like is when someone comes up. We were getting an Uber one time, and Uber's rule is you have to wear a mask in the car. Which fine. Doesn't bother me. So we're about getting in the car. This guy pulls up. He's like, "Why are you wearing masks?" And I've been drinking enough, and I just started to go. I was like, I really wanted to be like, because I fucking want to, and it's America, and I'm free to do whatever the fuck I want. If I want to wear a mask, I fucking wear a mask. If I don't want to wear a mask, I won't wear a mask. But who the fuck are you to tell me what I should be doing? So by you being so anti-mask, you can't step on my rights to prove that you're the freer that you're taking away my freedom when you bitch at me about wearing a mask. So my belief is if we're going to be free, then everybody gets to be free, whether you agree with it or not. You can't stomp on me because I'm wearing a mask. Then you're affecting my freedom. And if you're an American, support my choice. That's it.
And when we get people in here, they want to wear a mask. It's their option to wear a mask or not wear a mask.
Right. I have whatever you want to do.
We have no problem with.
I'd never bitch anybody for a mask. I don't. If they're free just like I am. If that's a choice they make, they're free to make that choice.
And when you go into stores and you see workers or people in there with their mask below their nose, it's like this is pointless. I'm just.
Well, that's funny. I was at Jimmy John's today, and there was 3 people behind the counter. They all had their mask below their nose. I'm like, what's the point? Just take it off then. If that's that. So it's just for show. Obviously, it's not for. What's funny is if you need to wear a mask, you breathe through your nose. You don't breathe through your mouth. Breathe through your nose. Don't breathe through your mouth when you're wearing the mask. They know what to pull down below your nose. I learned that the first day I was working construction, when we had to wear the masks because we were busting up concrete. And you cannot breathe that shit. It's fucking deadly to you. But I had a bad cold. I couldn't even breathe through my nose. So I breathe through my mouth. So what happens is the mask gets wet. And then you can't breathe through it at all. So I was trying to like pull it down so I could breathe through my nose. But I realized you have to learn to breathe through your nose when you're wearing a mask. Then it's not a problem. If you know subconsciously don't breathe through your mouth, then it doesn't get wet, then it doesn't get hard to breathe through. Just breathe through your nose. It's not bad. Yeah. I wore a mask doing construction in 90-degree heat for 8 hours a day, busting my ass, and I was okay. So you guys can all survive it, and to walk into Walmart.
And if you really want to wear a mask that's effective, you'd have to get a chemical mask, like the ones we use in the military.
Yes, you need a stake
those, and the only problem is with those, even with any mask, any facial hair, you created an open gap. All right, in the military, you wear your mask, you clear and seal, make sure everything's clear. One little pinhole, you could be dead from whatever chemicals or virus or whatever the heck.
It's not as if a little bit's okay.
Yeah.
Right. There's no little bit that's okay. You're dead either way, right?
Yeah.
So
give you an atropine shot, get high before you die.
Right. Unless you have the whole goddamn suit. Right.
Oh yeah, and the suit gets hot.
Yeah, I imagine.
Only time the suit's really good is in the wintertime.
Because you're trapping all your body heat in there.
Yeah.
It's making your own little oven.
Well, because you got the charcoal in there and everything, and you just
it's gotta be brutal.
Being left in that for 8 hours.
Nothing's better than just sitting there sweating like a pig inside your suit.
Then they want you to do stuff while you're in your mop suit, in mop 4. Like, hey, dig a hole. You know how hard it is here in Korea? Now we did go in the full mop gear, and I want to station over in Erjan it wasn't that long. I think we were in there for maybe an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, because the alarm went off and everybody's kind of looked at each other and everybody got in the mop 4 and we're like, holy shit,
It's crazy thing about that when the gas comes, like I said, a tiny pinhole, you're dead. So you're pretty much going to die if the gas gets to you.
Yeah.
Right. It just is what it is. I mean, Saddam killed 500,000 Kurds with the gas. Dropped it in a town and fucking they were all dead.
Was that?
They're all dead within like a half hour.
Mustard
gas. Everybody on the street.
Yeah. So you took a plane, just rubbed mustard, squeezed it.
Well, do you know when you make meth? When you make meth, you create mustard gas. It's why most labs blow up and most idiots die, because they don't realize they're creating mustard gas in one of the stages of fucking making meth, and so they do it in a closed fucking course because they're trying to hide it. They don't have it well ventilated. They don't get fucking gas masks or stage 3 masks, and that's how most idiots fucking die. That's why most of them are fucked up. It's basically because they're taking poison in all the time.
Yeah. Pamela, Army. That
which said it really cares what our soldiers, airmen, Navy.
Didn't read that.
Isn't the whole reason for our military is to defend our freedom? It sure is.
It is against foreign
and
domestic, but the thing is too, there's also a law that the military cannot operate on foreign
that's what the National Guard's for.
On
domestic soil.
Domestic soil. Oh, what's that called?
Remember, that's why you weren't supposed to be able to use drones against American citizens.
Oh, I can't. Something. It's some Latin word. I can't remember what it's called.
Yes, but that's why you weren't supposed to be able to use Predator drones against citizens. Then we found Predator drones being used against American citizens
in foreign countries.
Here, don't you remember? Like 10 years ago, we were catching drones. We caught drones out here. I caught a drone on my way home that one day.
That's because the president was coming in town.
That's because the president was using drones against people.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Yeah,
because they were spying on people with the Predator drones.
I think if you're going against terrorists, then you need them. Domestic. Well, you know what? That brings up a whole nother problem.
I think domestic terror is bullshit. You lose all your rights when you are declared a domestic terror. You lose all your rights. You lose your right to a speedy trial. You lose all your rights to a lawyer. You lose everything when you're declared a domestic terrorist.
But if you go to the school board and complain, what's next? City Hall. If you go there and complain,
yes.
And you're making a socialist world.
Listen, the videos I love to watch lately are First Amendment auditors. There's 2 I really love. One on audit, Barrier Transparency, awesome. What they do is They walk into publicly accessible places with video cameras. They're very nice. They're very polite. They don't cause any disruption. They sit there with cameras. 9 times out of 10, the police are called just because they're there with the camera.
Right.
Just because, although we have a First Amendment right, freedom of press to walk in there and record, the police come, arrest them, harass them, beat shot them, cuff them, take them to jail. And people call the police because they have a camera. There might be 12 security cameras, but they call the police because there's a camera. So those are people who are in danger of becoming domestic terrorists. A lot of places where they go, City Hall, police departments, public libraries, and the police are there to arrest them immediately. And they take them down and arrest them, cuff them, beat the shit out of them over and over again. And so they're fighting back to prove that, hey, a post office is a big one. Post office has, the Homeland Security said you can film in the post office. Every time they walk into a post office, the people behind the counter freak out, call the police, screaming to stop filming. They even have a poster on the wall called Poster 7. They put on the wall that says you can film here. And they still arrest them and push out. So that's freedom of press being oppressed already by the government. And those are they're one step away from being declared domestic terrorists. And basically they get trespassing put against them, disturbing the peace, resisting arrest, obstruction of justice. They file every charge they can against them to stop them from exercising a First Amendment freedom. There's already law that says in the exercising of a constitutional right cannot be used for reasonable suspicion or disturbing the peace. So you can't be disturbing the peace if you're just filming. But time and time again, 9 out of 10 times, these guys, the cops come and they arrest them. They sue. They end up suing and winning because what happens is the police come, unfortunately, and the ones who don't know violate their First Amendment right, their Fourth Amendment right, their Fifth Amendment rights. It's crazy how it just happens. So they're in danger of becoming domestic terrorists.
Now, on an off thing, did you hear what happened with the, how Amazon wanted to build something on the east side of Geneva, right? Now, a lot of citizens got together, protested it, and the city, they pulled their bid. So Amazon, but the builders were trying to do a backdoor thing. And I guess city, too many people. I mean, there were I guess a shit ton of people at the last city hall meeting in Geneva, and they beat it. So, I mean, technically, they could be declared as domestic terrorists.
Yeah, well, I just watched it
because they interfered with the.
I watched it.
I mean, it
was a really great cop. He was they were at a city council meeting. Someone stood up, was saying something that was opposed to the city council, and I don't know if it's a president or whatever, the leader of city council, so the cop's get him out of here, he's trespassing. Trespass him out of here. And the cop walks up and he's like, no, he's exercising a First Amendment right. He's a citizen, has every right to be here. No, I will not remove him. And the guy was so dumbfounded, the police wouldn't remove this guy. The cop, was such a good cop. He's like, they have a right to it's a First Amendment right. I'm not going to trample on a constitutional right. Whereas a lot of times I see where the cops take him out of there and they're like, what are you doing? My First Amendment right. So that's the easy thing to do. So what happens? She's like, take him out. Like that guy whose daughter was molested and raped. Right. The school hid it. They arrested him. They beat the shit out of the guy, arrested him, took him down on the ground, and they turned him into domestic terrorist. They claimed he was declared a domestic terrorist because he was there. So what happens is you get silenced immediately. I'm here to fight for my rights. I'm standing up for my rights. The easy thing to do is shut him down. He's causing disturbance. Arrest him. Get him out. He's a domestic terrorist. Now the guy can't do anything ever again because his whole life is screwed.
He'll fight it.
Right.
But he'll fight it and win. There'll be a lawyer that will.
But had the news media not got a hold of that and brought that out and set it out, he would have had a massive uphill battle to where all the evidence would have been against him because he went to a school board meeting and spoke out. Because as soon as they don't want to hear something, they just say, stop. All right, trespassing, get him out of here. So it takes a really good cop to say, sorry, no, I'm not going to do that. It's a First Amendment right. He has a chance to speak. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. That's often not the case, which is the shame. Some people say our rights are not endangered. They are every day, and I see evidence of it every day.
Well, yes, you do see it. And I mean, if you can't voice your opinion at a public hearing, I guess they call them, right? Public hearing.
Domestic terrorist.
You go there and express, I know something happened to my child and I went to the school board or a city hall meeting about something. I'm going to speak my mind in a nice, kind way.
But you have this right of being considered a domestic terrorist. Right? They can shut you down immediately. There's how you take away your freedom of speech.
Well, that's very
domestic terrorist.
So you should do is bring your lawyer with you.
Listen, the Constitution
says constitutional lawyer with you.
The Constitution says our rights are inalienable.
Correct.
Which means you can't separate me from my rights.
But they're trying to change.
I'm born with these rights. You can't separate me. But as soon as you declare somebody a domestic terrorist, you immediately alienate them from their rights. So how could you? So that alone, domestic terrorism should be against the Constitution of the United States.
Well, you dress up as a foreigner, then go to the meeting, and then what?
There you go.
Are you an international terrorist?
Right there, then you're an international terrorist. Then you really have no rights. Then your ass is on a plane to Cuba or wherever they take them, wherever they're taking foreign nationals now to
out in the ocean on
to,
a boat
to,
that just
to
does
interrogate
circles.
and torture. Listen, I don't like to see anybody tortured, but I'm kind of okay with them when you have terrorists and you need to get information out of them, doing whatever is necessary to get it out.
Yeah, and waterboarding is not fun.
I'm sorry, I just feel like if you're gonna have a plan of attack, we should be able to
use milk, because milk does a body good.
We should be able to extract any information and any means necessary.
Yes.
When you have a plot to kill 5,000 to 10,000 people, you're at that point. To me, your life has no value anymore.
Did you see what they caught in Panama?
Big fish.
Well, that too. But in Panama, since it's it's a narrow area, they caught a 25 Al Qaeda known terrorists down there, trying to cross and trying to come to the United States.
No one does that. They don't come through Mexico to go.
No,
that doesn't happen. That's why we're going to open the border, let the cartel in, who doesn't give a shit, and has no liability for
once
anything.
the cartel comes in, you can kiss pretty much the Southwest.
I think there's some people who actually believe the cartel cares about breaking the law. They don't care, because what happens is if you take one, they just go after your family. So the law creates no accountability or liability for them. Yeah, the government's hiding behind the Patriot Act. Damn right. When it's misused.
Yeah.
I think the Patriot Act has some value to when the hard part is if you have people here who've gotten citizenship, but they did it as a plan to be able to attack us. The Patriot Act gives us the freedom to go wiretap, but I don't like that. I hate that you're basically taking rights away from citizens. There's Patriot Act. It's kind of like protecting the worst again. Sometimes you have to protect the worst, so the rest of us are free. Because like unauthorized wiretaps, they can get warrantless searches. They could get with the Patriot Act. Once they do all that, like I said, you lose your rights.
Right.
So they can just walk into your house. They don't need a warrant. They don't have to knock. They just walk in anytime you want.
Well, didn't they change no knocks?
They did something because a couple of cases got destroyed on no knocks where they killed people walking the cops got shot walking into a house on a no knock. And they tried to shoot murder or attempted murder on them.
Right.
But they're like, the judge, when they went to court, the judge like, if you walk into somebody's house unannounced and you're a bunch of guys in tactical gear coming in the middle of the night with weapons, everybody's going to shoot you. If they have the opportunity, they're going to shoot you. Yes, that's what everybody's going to do.
Now, in other cases too, if you're going to a dangerous situation, and you knock, we got a warrant, we're here for for your arrest or whatever to check. And you got what 3 to 5 seconds, and you can bust the door open if they don't answer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you throw a flashbang in there. But the problem is, if there's children, a flashbang does. Oh, that's a great thing to have. Mess up people, but for a minute.
With all the equipment we have, though, you can basically pull up outside a house. You can basically see in the house.
Yep.
See who's in there, where they're at.
All by Wi-Fi.
You don't need to stand outside for 12 hours in a standoff. You basically could look at the house, be like, oh, there's an adult.
Thermal imaging.
Right. You could see it all. So it's not like, we don't know what's going on in there. We don't know what they're doing. You can see whether or not they have weapons. It's amazing the technology we have. So you can basically take one part of the house, if you needed to, separate them.
Throw a drone up there with thermal imaging and all that stuff.
I think there's a much easier way to get in there. Yeah. They have robots now that that one thing scares me about, like Boston Dynamics. So the company makes the awesome robots you see. So they just put a sniper rifle on one of the dogs they have, which is like it's the future of what Boston Dynamics will become. I think it's what Hyundai bought them, but those robots are going to be made for war. It's going to be Terminators. And you're going to have robot dogs that have fucking sniper rifles on them that never miss and can kill anybody anytime, anywhere. But you could send robot dogs and let them go knock down the doors and they can go in and.
Well, would they still be, if you have like a rolled up sheet, you still hit them? Hey, bad dog. And you just smack them in the nose.
I feel bad for dogs because once you have a robot dog that looks like a dog, it feels like a dog, but listens better and is trained perfectly and is the best guard dog, doesn't need food, doesn't need water, doesn't need to go outside. People aren't going to get real dogs anymore. They're going to have dynamic robotic dogs.
Tell the dog to go back in his crate and just sit there.
That's gonna be the best behaved dog in the world.
What was that thing? Remember they had something you can leave in your house with like a robot, and if you go to sleep at night, it will scan the area to make sure nothing's happening. It does. It sends out a warning. I need one of those.
Then would it be good is you stick a vacuum on it too and it'll clean your house while you're sleeping.
A silent vacuum cleaner.
Right. I don't know why we don't have those yet.
What?
Silent vacuums.
I don't know.
They already have the technology where they can create a sine wave opposite to whatever the noise is the thing's making and make it completely silent. So why doesn't every vacuum have that? Turn on the vacuum, it automatically also has the thing that creates a sine wave opposite and it makes it completely silent.
It's because when somebody's sitting watching football or something like that, or your favorite sport or news, and somebody goes and vacuums, I'm not gonna say either or sex, you got something to complain about.
That's true. That's true.
You know.
But you know what the thing is? If the vacuum was silent, nobody would buy stuff. Like, it's just not working. It's not working. If I can't hear it, then it's not really vacuuming. If I can't hear the stuff going,
it went from suck to blow.
Right. If I can't hear the vacuum, then it's not working. It might as well be working. But you know what? I told you 2 weeks ago I had a chance to drive that Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
It was silent, which I like. I love this. Man, the sound of exhaust, it gets into my soul. A good 70s muscle car. Sounds amazing. A good motorcycle with good throaty exhaust. But I love it. I always thought I'm going to hate electric cars because you don't have that anymore.
But the speaker.
But the Tesla being quiet was amazing. It was so nice to drive in it where it was completely silent. It's so fast. They're so fast. Faster than any car I've ever driven. I've driven a hell of a lot of high performance cars. And it's faster than any motorcycle I've been on. Just, God, it's amazing. It's amazing. I was like, I like the quiet. The quiet's nice.
You know what? I'll still prefer a big V8 just to hear the rumble.
Yeah, but you know what I don't like? When I sit in my living room at night, and I have to hear all the little the little fucking coffee can kids with their rice burners. Just a
That's because you live too close to a major road.
All night long. No, it's their exhaust is so loud you can hear it across the whole city all night long. It's crazy.
I think last night we had it must have been a teenager with a new Mustang or something like that, mom and dad's Mustang, who knows. But it was like revving it up, showing off to the other kids in the neighborhood, whatever, next door. I was like, I go, it has to be a Mustang, I think. Looked out there, I'm like, yeah, it looks like a Mustang. I'm like, kids just showing off. It was like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, it's not like.
I don't mind. It's when it becomes 10, 12 o'clock at night.
10, 12, yeah, you got to, the noise got to, I think legally, the noise have during the week, is it 10? And weekends 11? I don't know. Okay. Do you remember the times when they used to have the stuff on at night on 10:30? Do you know where your kid's at before the Johnny Carson show?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where your kids are at? And I'm like looking, I'm here at home. I don't know.
We have no cell phones, so I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. That was great when we didn't have cell phones.
I miss it.
So you could, because you take work with you everywhere now.
Well, yes,
right.
Yes,
work is with you 24.
That's 24/7.
7.
So it's one of the huge advantages, also one of the disadvantages, right? It's like you're never off of work, but it makes so I don't have to go to the office. I don't have to be like, oh my God, that's at work. I don't. Right. So basically, we run this whole business from our phones.
Yeah,
it's with us all the time. We see orders. I can respond to customers. Can take care of almost everything on this phone now. Which,
but when we were kids and the parents, whatever job, right? Once you left, like my dad had to leave work. We were on 2 weeks vacation. If something went bad on a machine, my dad knew something about it. Oh well, you know what? He wasn't calling in
figure
the
it
house
out.
Hey, did you figure out how to put the oil in this thing here? It was, we're on vacation, no phone calls, nothing.
Yes.
We were, how did you keep yourself entertained? Reading a book or looking outside the window while you're driving for hours on end. I mean, my kids can't even, we're bored in 5 minutes. We're like, we haven't even left town yet. You guys have a movie player, a laptop, whatever the hell.
You know what's funny is my kids, our last trip to Michigan, traffic was horrendous. They were bored. Like they were bored playing on the phone. So I'm like, oh, let's play a license plate game. They're like, what's that? I'm like, we got to find the numbers. You got to find the numbers. You got to find them in order. You can't cheat. So it's got to be like, you got 1 here. You can't take a 3 off this plate until you get a 2 on a plate. They played it for 2.5 hours. We're so excited the whole way on the trip. Like, I'm like, we've never played this. Yeah, we've never played it because they were too busy on their phones or watching a movie. They thought it was the best thing in the whole world. They're like, oh my God. It's like, oh.
Or playing Slug Bug.
Slug Bug, yep. As I said, the other one. Yep.
Like, you'd be sitting there like, taking a trip all the way out to Wyoming or something like that, and be like, slug bug.
Yeah, but now you hardly ever see them anymore.
No, well, no, I think you see them a little bit more than we used to see them because they made them for quite some years.
Yeah, I rarely see, like, you don't see the old ones. You see maybe the new bug.
Yeah, the new bug.
I miss the old, I like the old bugs.
Remember when Mr. V had the old bug?
I was a car learner to drive sticking was an old VW blue bug. Well, it was blue, and then orange. And then I don't
red.
know, we used to steal that car all the time. We'd go around the neighborhood and practice. So I taught myself to drive sticking when we were like 14 or 15.
No, I learned on Mr. V's
Chevette. I learned on the bug. The bug was like it was a good one to learn because there was no power steering. There was no hydraulic clutch. It was all cable and no power steering. And so you really had to learn how to drive. The clutch was like super long. The friction point was super high. It was a leg workout. Like it was not easy. So that was a great car to learn on.
Yeah.
Because when you move up to like hydraulic clutch, power steering, like the newer sticks were so easy. Like it's like, wow, this is like a whole new world. So you had to learn on the hard stuff. The first one I ever did was our '67 Ford panel van. That was the first one.
No power steering.
No power steering. When that thing was loaded, holy cow, you could not move that wheel. And then it was 3 on the tree.
You couldn't. But if you were going, you could move it.
Right. But you had to be going.
Yeah.
Once it was like when it was empty, it wasn't bad.
That's the same thing on the Deuce.
Well, the part was like when you had to like try to back out of a parking space or a tight spot, you weren't going. That wheel, like as you had to shoot, the wheel was huge, and you had to crank on that thing. It was hard to move it because it was loaded down. Man, it just could not move that thing. And then the 3 on the tree was always a pain in the butt because you'd go from second to third sometimes. There's a gang called Street Racers, innocent kids who restored old cars and park them others. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
we did that. We used to do that with Group West. Like we'd meet up at Wags or the Burger King parking lot here. Everybody would bring their cars, all the stuff they did.
Not White Castle. What's White Hen?
Mm-hmm.
White Hen.
Show off our cars.
Show off our cars. If we had bikes, park it there.
Yep. We'd always
acting all cool, like sitting on your bike, like.
We talk about our cars, every shit we did to our cars. I always had pieces of shit. Somebody was like, I put a stereo in.
That was the one thing we used to do is put stereos in our cars, right? And then you got to the Rockford Fosgates, you got the booster, you did it all yourself.
Right. What's crazy is like I can imagine like how the fuck did I figure that radio out now? I'm like, I look now some stuff I'm like, I have no idea. But somehow I figured out how to rip the stock radio on my 81 Buick Skylark, put in a Sony head unit with 3 million wires. I had no idea. Nothing was labeled, just guess along the way. I built some fuses.
It was a trick my cousin told me when we were doing it, how to hook it up. You took the 9-volt battery, cousin Jay, and you snapped so you can hear which speaker, so you put in the right spot. Oh. And that was the way. But
I don't learn. I just kept doing wires. I kept blowing fuses. You'd go buy a bunch of 10 amp fuses and we're going to put a new radio in because you put it in and be like, oh, that was a power wire instead of a speaker wire. Oh shit, there's a new fuse. New fuse.
And you got to have a cassette player.
Oh yeah.
Got to have a cassette.
I remember one time I took house speakers and had them in my car, wired in the house speakers. And you realize they sound like shit. Although they're huge, they sound like shit. And there was always the kids. Remember the kids used to drive around the white van? They got this awesome deal speakers, the last kind.
Water cooled speakers.
Yes, they're like the best speakers ever. I'm like, let me see them.
They're usually $300 a piece, but I'll give it to you $150. Mm-hmm. They fell off the back of a truck.
Yep.
Or the meat guys.
Yeah, the meat guys.
The meat guys used to come around and used to get good prices on meat.
Well,
high 5 stereos.
Yeah. I used to have a kick-ass home stereo. I still have it. My stereo that I got when I was a kid.
I think I still have.
I have my original record player, which like the needle for that record player is like $50 a piece, but it's an amazing record player. So records are coming back now, and like I have a kick-ass record player. I like listening to like my older albums on record. I like a little bit of scratchiness, a little bit of not perfect, not so tuned out. It sounds more realistic.
Yeah.
I just listened to Jethro Tull Aqualung the other day when I was in the garage fucking around. That's why it's my garage stereo. And it was so good to hear a little bit of just a little static.
We really said it was his 8-track.
Do I know what's crazy? When I was a kid, my dad got a newer car, and we were pissed because it had a cassette player and it didn't have an 8-track player in it. And we had like a whole bunch of 8-tracks we loved. So my dad went into the store and bought an adapter that went from cassette to 8-track.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did have that. Yeah.
We wore out the soundtrack for Saturday Night Fever. We love Saturday Night Fever, like the whole thing. Yeah, it was. Yeah, like man, we listened to that every day, all day long. It was all Bee Gees. Like we were so mad.
Did you know in the original it was supposed to be that song from the 70s too? Disco Duck was supposed to be on it.
Really?
Yeah, but they said no. Maybe we
Good
should put
decision.
Good decision. Not
Good
put
decision.
that on there. Disco Duck. Hey guys, it's already.
Is it that time?
Yeah.
Holy cow, went quick.
Good.
Thank you guys for joining us again. It's awesome. Glad I got to be back.
So, next weekend we'll be at the all night flea market.
Yeah, no podcast. We'll be there from Saturday from 3 till midnight.
I'll probably just do a quick little thing with the phone there.
Come hang out. It's a great time.
Yeah.
If you like to people watch, it's the best event you'll ever people watch.
Yeah. And what's after that one?
Flea market, Kane County Flea Market.
Kane County Flea Market.
Then the gun show at Kane County. And then I don't know yet then. I gotta look at the calendar.
The gun show Kane County is Sunday. Is it the 10th?
It's like the 14th. Whatever second week. Yeah, second Sunday.
Second Sunday.
Second Sunday.
So from 7:30 to 1:30, something like that.
And then starting after Thanksgiving, every weekend through all the way up till Christmas, we'll be in Ottawa for their Chris Kringle Market, which goes 3 days a week, Friday through Sunday.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be huge. Our friends from Core Spice did it last year, had a great show, so we're gonna go do it 4 weekends in a row down there. So take a trip down to Ottawa. It's not bad.
Yeah.
From Batavia, we're at maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah, and if the store is closed, I'll try to put it out on Friday if I can get anybody to work, because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. He's got to work.
It's long weekends.
Yeah, long weekends.
But hopefully it'll be a good time. Hopefully we'll see some of you guys down there. Thank you guys again for all your support. Thanks for joining us.
Keep your head on a swivel.